7, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Answer the Call, the best call show out there, and the only call show that I've ever been a part of. So there's obviously some correlation there, Mike. How you doing? How you doing?
Not great. I'm not going to be a downer, but my my baby, she's here with me. Actually, she came. You can see she's got her little bruise on her arm and stuff. She's got a tumor, so. We found this out on Friday. So not very fun. I don't want to start the stream out being a downer, but so if the if I don't seem to be as excited or care as much about Star Citizen excitement or problems, it's because there's more important things to care about, and that's where I'm at right now. But there's a lot of fun things to talk about this week, so I am excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about them. Could definitely use the distraction a little bit. Trying to hold it together.
All of that's okay, right? Because I have plenty enough excitement for the both of us at the moment. I've been just filled with excitement from all of the announcements that we've gotten over the last week, and the amount of actual Star Citizen I've been playing over the last couple of days, which has been more than like the entirety of January.
For me, it's a few specific things that really excited me, and none of them involved the video content this week. But yeah, sorry, we're gonna have.
I think let's start on that just because the video content still was decent. It just wasn't very like everything we've been seeing recently has been very feature heavy focused. Yeah, and like, a lot of hype about 323 and stuff like that. And this felt like kind of a regular ATC and SEL week where it was just kind of a, hey guys, here are some devs, and here's the and what they do. And so it was interesting, just not as interesting as last week, and not as interesting as some of the other stuff that happened this week.
Yeah. What I guess start out with what would be at the top of your list?
I'll start small because there's some really big things. Which is just, so we got a 322.1 build again, or a couple of builds, with a ton of Arena Commander updates that are amazing. They're a lot of fun. So the first thing that was kind of a little bit surprising, but now makes sense as to why they said they're going to have all the ships available in Master Modes in 323 is they added a bunch more ships to Master Modes in Arena Commander. Have you had a chance to hop in a Constellation at all?
I didn't do Connie, but I've seen actually a lot of complaints about it, that it's too good. That was what I saw people were saying, was that the Connie was too good.
People will like that feels like such a non-issue in like as in complaining that a multi-crew ship has gotten really good is weird to me.
I haven't heard anybody complain about the Hammerhead though, and both got really good.
That's because you can't fully crew it yet. In Arena
but still, you don't even know. Well, yeah, maybe, but not maybe. You cannot. But the Hammerhead, the arguments that I heard were that it is a little bit too good as a like it's not playing its gunship role. Maybe it's a little too speedy.
Like it's too good solo or whatever. Or
yes, where the Hammerhead feels exactly how, if you bought the Hammerhead, that is the experience you were buying, and now you get it, right? And the Connie is like kind of more medium and like these tweener ships, like in between large multi-crew ships, and they all seem to suffer the same problem, as there's not a place for them maybe. Now again, this was somebody else's thoughts, not my own. I haven't tried them at all. Hammerhead, amazing, dominating the best PvPers in atmosphere, so like jump town situations, like
as in with them in like live fighters and stuff.
Correct, them in live fighters, us in a half crewed Hammerhead, dominated in the atmospheric map, which just makes if jump town was ever worth doing again, makes it sound really, really, really exciting. And just given the way they're going through things, I'm sure we'll talk a bit about dynamic events. I imagine Jumptown will get the same treatment that whatever's going on now. Xeno threat, it seems like, because Jared
Yeah.
hinted at it last week. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's go to that thing next. Just like, yeah. So outside of master modes, there's more arena commander stuff, but in that patch as well.
Did you test the new stuff?
Could not get a single one to work.
they didn't work, but you were actually in there trying it.
Yes.
Okay, so give me some insight, because all that stuff started going down when Lola started having her issues. So I have not engaged with the game very much outside of Arena Commander. So what is this? What were they testing? What is it? I don't know anything about it.
So it looks like what they're trying to do, kind of on first glances, because once again, it's really hard to get anything to work for us to actually get a full picture of it, is similar to how you've got like the storyline missions with like the guy on Hurston. I forget his name at the moment, that you do like a bunch of bounties for.
The coughing one, or Miles Eckert?
Eckhart.
Okay.
So similar to how with Eckhart, you sort of like progress every time you get a mission, he gives you another one. It feels like it's a bit like that. You start off with one priority mission, which is essentially, it is straight up the data heist mission.
Okay.
But you're trying to heist it from Xenothreat, who also, they have their all their new gear and stuff, which is great. And so yeah, it's essentially the legal data heist.
I got a question then.
Yeah.
Yep. I've already recorded Week in Review, so there's a chance that I got this completely wrong because I didn't know. I was, one of my like kind of complaints about them working on a newish or revamping old dynamic events is they're still not dynamic. Is this thing the steps that are going to make, does it, because you're going against Xenothreat, does this look like it's the thing that will trigger Xenothreat?
It feels like it is.
It
feels like it is.
So is the event actually going to be dynamic again? You can't tell
Possibly
from the test, I assume, but this could be that. So my complaints could be like completely stupid if that's what this ends up being, which is finally awesome, amazing. Thank you. Yeah, because my argument was like, hey, can we just make these dynamic and not keep making events? Can we make the event, every event that you make going forward, actually something that we create? But yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way, but I was never able to finish the first mission.
Fair enough.
Far too many bugs. It kept on, essentially, it does this thing where it like pauses the upload, and then you have to like leave to get it to work again. But then because you leave, one of the servers explodes, and then you come back, and then it freezes again. And so it's just, there's just a ton of issues with it at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate. But it is also like it's given like the 1 out of 5 mission, so presumably there's 5 of these missions that you progress through before whatever happens. Whether it is straight up actual Xenothreat triggers or it's something else, I have no idea. So I'm gonna have to wait for another build before I get a better idea of essentially what it is.
And it was also my understanding that like they were telling us that we were testing a phase of it. So obviously, even if it did work, it was not going to trigger the next phase, most likely.
The actual Xenothreat,
yeah. So it didn't really matter anyway. But I'm just curious if that feels like what might be happening, which is interesting. I don't know. That was something that happened this week. I want to ask you about the thing that you said you've been enjoying the most, Gravlev races. I have not been enjoying them as much as you, but I have enjoyed them. Clio Paradise or something like that, whatever the water Clio map is, was so fun. Yeah.
There's some really, really good tracks there. So we got to see a little bit of just like screenshots and stuff of one of the tracks at DreamHack Atlanta. And so we knew it was coming, and we've gotten to see it now, but it's come out with, I think, 6 tracks all up. It's 5 or 6 tracks all up. Although one of them is a reverse. Yeah. The Gravlev itself feels pretty good. You are still getting punished at the moment from things like desync. You will explode when you aren't supposed to have exploded due to desync and stuff. And one of the maps, River's Edge, is very cool, but super broken. All of the others are awesome.
What's broken about it? Just
So the second you get to the back end of the track, there's massive frame rate issues.
Ooh,
Due to
okay.
those frame rate issues, you will explode before you even know why you've exploded, and before you even have a chance to react.
Fair enough.
There's two sections of it. One is this very cool jump where you jump over the river, and so people will be like racing below you. Super dope. But how they've positioned it has made it that if you aren't going fast, you can't make the jump. But if you're going fast, you crash into the jump and explode. So you've got to like get the exact perfect speed for it to work, or be in a server that it doesn't mess around and stuff. And then in addition, there's a section where you sort of fall into the river, and it likes to make you explode there as well. Even if you're traveling super low speeds and you're at maximum height, it makes you explode.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's awesome. This track that we're seeing right now,
My
so this
favorite.
is the Clio track. So good. You can essentially stay at lowest height the entire time and just go crazy speeds as you go around.
Oh yeah, tell people
World
about
record
that.
right now is like 28 seconds.
What?
It's
Okay,
insane.
I did 58 seconds. That was my best. Like when I got
Yeah,
below a minute, I
it's
was
real fast.
hyped. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell people about
Yeah,
the
but
raising and lowering a little bit, because I actually
yeah,
had to be told that in chat. I was like, damn, I'm going real slow. And they were like,
yeah. So
yeah, just press control.
it's been a thing for a while. It's been a thing ever since they did the Gravlev rework, but obviously there's not many reasons to actually use Gravlev in the PU.
Exactly.
And often when you do anyway, you'll blow up. So actually matters here. Essentially, you have two different maximum speeds, one for max height, one for low height, and then it goes in between there. But you also get a lot of better traction when you're at fast speeds. So there's a lot of maneuvering around with that.
Okay.
So in any of the tracks that aren't just flat like this one is, you've actually got to mess around with your height quite a lot.
Cool.
But yeah, it's super fun. The big fun thing about it, other than the fact that the tracks are just pretty well designed, like they're enjoyable to race around. Yeah. You can have 8 people. You can have a full lobby of 8 people racing, and that feels great. It feels like I'm actually playing a multiplayer game.
I feel like Ammo Esports, XGR, they're gonna have you guys have, I assume, been doing stuff in Arena Commander since this has been available, but this
not at least from my understanding with what Ammo have done, we haven't done any Arena Commander stuff yet, just because there's no private servers, so you can still have randos joining.
Yeah.
But 100%, the second we get like right now, everyone's just doing time trials.
Yeah.
Right, because you can just do that easily in offline mode. But the second we get custom service for this, it's insane. It's
forget
awesome.
about it. Yeah, super exciting. I love this map. You're seeing me playing it for the first time, so I'm like learning how fast I could go, and like totally going out of simulation like so many times and sliding all over the place. But I had so much fun with this, and it's something that I will definitely dive into. I had a little bit more fun in guys, we need like an emote for this. I will never remember to just click the intro. All I have to do is click the intro button, and that thing will not come up when I switch back to the scene. But it is classic. I guess the emote would be classic. That I just classic Mike can never do it right.
Before you do go on to the other Arena Commander stuff, I do also want to mention one of the tracks, which is Shifting Sands. It's the Daymar track. Also incredibly fun. My personal favorite at the moment.
What do you like about it? Because I haven't been to it yet.
So first off, the design of the track, like this, where they've got the straightaways, where they've got the
cool,
turns and the elevation changes as well is great. But there's 2 extra things. One, weapons are enabled, which on Gravlevs is a lot of fun because, just so you know, Mike, when you shoot someone else who's on a Gravlev, it doesn't just damage them, it slows them down. So if you hit the person in front of you, they actually slow down and you have a chance to catch up. But also there's a little Easter egg, and I won't necessarily say what the Easter egg is. I'll just say make sure you guys go and do Shifting Sands, get to lap number 3, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay, I will definitely be doing that. Cool.
Yeah.
Because I love Daymar, so anything on Daymar is a go for me. I just the first map I got was, I don't know what any of the other maps are, but I think it was like the Snake Pit. It was kind of looking like Snake Pit. And bro, I was flying keeping the ship down was not easy. So I was like not enjoying it at all. And the DJ told me to go to the Clio Paradise or whatever it is. And I was like, okay. And then I started enjoying it. So I stuck with that one for a while, and I never jumped to anything else. Do we want to talk about what I've been actually obsessing over? It's kind of disgusting. Is Kill Collector. So, and I guess we should just jump into the fact that we had 3 different environments that were in testing.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about the PTU mainly.
Well, the PTU.
Yeah. Well, I call it PTU because, again, we had...
It essentially is, yeah.
We had some weird communication issues. On the podcast, Eric Green, Proxys, said, ePTU, PTU, it doesn't matter. It is the PTU. So the E next to it is just what environment's available at that time is what he made it sound like. But then we had a communication from a community manager, I think it was Niku, that said, ePTU means experimental. And it's like, well, I don't think... I'm going to go with the guy who's the one who pushes the stuff. So I'm going to go with that one. I don't think it's exactly experimental. So I just call it PTU just to keep it simple as well. We had a PTU, we had live updates, and we had a replication layer test on the test preview. So 3 different environments were all going at the same time. If you don't consider that a good thing, you're crazy. Yes, it's annoying. Yeah. You might have to be downloading things, all this. They are working on 3 different environments at once. They are working. Guys, they're working. Sometimes it feels like they're not working, right? Sometimes it feels like they're not doing anything. They are doing things, and they're testing a bunch of things, and it's exciting. I want to talk about the stuff that happened on live. We were just mainly talking about stuff going in PTU. On live, we had 2 events, and they're currently ongoing. Lunar New Year and Koramore. Lunar New Year is obviously Lunar New Year, and then Koramore is Valentine's Day in the verse. What they decided to do with them outside of the ship sales and the ship sales, armor sales, and skins and stuff are to do 2 Arena Commander based events. The one that I've been enjoying the most is called Kill Collector, FPS Kill Collector, because there is a version of it for ships. And it's as simple as kill a player, and then there's a coin there, and you collect them. Kills are worth 25, coins are worth 500. First to 12,000 wins. And so it actually forces you to play a little bit differently than, like, I really enjoyed Gun Rush, but like situations like are on the screen now, you want to have people engage each other, and then you're you want to be the garbage man that cleans up the fights. Because they kill each other, drop 2 coins, and then you collect coins. Also, just word of advice, a lot of people are going in there in light armor. Don't do that. You're just going to be a coin farm for everybody else. So
I was going to say, you don't need that little bit of extra speed, surely. The armor is way more important.
It could help, but the armor is just significantly more important now. So, like, you can see it here. I'm just trying to clean up fights. Like, I'm just taking my time and then trying to clean up fights, but then sometimes people clean you up. But it's super fun.
You kill another player.
Yeah. Listen, I'm putting up one of my good games, okay? I didn't put up my bad games. So I wanted you guys to see what a win looks like. This is a win with already getting the reward. And the reward is one of those coins that you're collecting on your in your hangar. So eventually you'll be able to pull it out. Think like one of these, I guess, which is a bit of a flex. The cube. It's like things like that. Which, by the way,
a bit of hanger flare.
This I have to put this in because valid until October 2024. So I got to actually put this in my hangar. I haven't put any of them in yet. But been really, really enjoying that. Super addicted to it. Reason is you choose your own loadout. So Gun Rush, some guns are fun, some guns aren't. With this mode, it's some maps are fun, some maps aren't. Because this is a CQB mode. There is no point in being on a long range game, pulling out a sniper and killing somebody because you can't collect their coin. Right? So the long range maps are just not really enjoyable and just they're just awful. But the CQB maps are amazingly fun. And yeah, I've just been enjoying them. And then there's another one, Duo 2v2. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a ship combat. It's fight or flight. It was the mode they made for fight or flight at CitizenCon. But it's like you're supposed to get a Koramore coin or a Koramore flare. I won a match. I was playing with Hannah, And
Nice.
early on, the only way to get the hanger flare is to have the top score. So only one person out of the 4 gets the hanger flare. So obviously Hannah carried me, and I didn't get it. So eventually, I will jump in again. They have fixed that. So now, if
Awesome.
a team will get the hanger flare, I don't know what it looks like, but it's Coromore based, and that's what we pretty much had on live. PTU, I don't know if you guys know, but they also changed the gun rush guns.
Yeah, the weapons are different. Yeah,
much better. There was some earlier testing that was not much better. There was really, really bad, actually, some choices that they made. So they changed those around and listened to feedback, which was really nice. And yeah, I don't know what you want to go into next. Is there anything that's sticking out to you as far as like patch stuff outside of Replication? I was going to go Replication layer, but
I will mention the Coromore mole paint.
Oh, it looks really good. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I do have a lot of store credit at the moment, but I don't think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I was like, I've got some store credit to spare. I don't see any ships coming out anytime soon that I'd like to get. So
Yeah.
chucked my way there.
Outside that, we had replication layer test. It did not go well. It went about as bad as it
I didn't even get a
could.
chance. I didn't even get a chance to test it.
If you tried,
I didn't hear of many people even having a crash.
Okay. You know why?
Yeah.
Because the servers never recovered.
Ah.
So first server I tried to get into was held up, like on hold, the like little screen or whatever, for over an hour when at the time that I tried to get in, and somebody else was waiting in there saying, yeah, it's on waiting. So I'm sitting in a never-ending loading screen because it's still trying to recover. I keep trying to switch servers and get a new one. I eventually do get a new one that had crashed and recovered.
Okay.
Then it crashed for me, never recovered. So yeah, like that's basically what was happening. Is I waited for 30 minutes for it to recover. So this was a worse test than the first one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You want to go into
that's
roadmap?
Interesting because like we didn't just before we do, I didn't hear like in the first playtest of like any issues in that regard, minus like maybe a 10-minute recovery and then some issues when people got back in from the recovery, but the recovery itself was like always working.
Yeah,
so
it always worked.
Yeah,
but and they came at us with the like, hey, we got logging, so it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, thumbs up, no problem, as long as in the next test hopefully it improves a little bit, or in the next test that you remove the logging, that we can actually feel that improvement. Well, we didn't exactly feel that improvement this week. And the reason I wanted to go into roadmap updates is because the first update in roadmap update was that it's not going to be in 322.x anymore, the replication layer. It is moved to 323 to absolutely nobody's surprise. A lot of the 322 PTUs were not including replication layer, so people were kind of putting 2 and 2 together and going, I don't think this is going to happen. And I was actually, I was a little bit of you, Croncy. I was like, it could happen. It just not included in these PTUs. Why not?
Sure.
It's still being tested in test preview. Why wouldn't it be included? And then after this test on Thursday, it was pretty obvious that it was not going to be included to me. Yeah. Does that bother you at all? It doesn't bother me. I'll say that much.
No, not at all. I'm kind of expecting the way that the things that we've been testing have been going so far. I would expect probably 322.1 to only be a week or 2 away at this stage, unless they're adding more things into it, which they might, and then that changes things. And because of that, I wasn't expecting replication layer to be anywhere near then, especially because we'd only had one test of it so far with crash recovery, right? So. But now we've had 2, and you were just mentioning lots of issues. So it'll be a second.
Like the reason it doesn't bother, like obviously, listen, this is a big piece of server meshing. We want it done. You want to move on to the next steps and see progress, right? Well, yeah, but we don't want to experience 318 again. And essentially, what was happening in that test is game breaking issue, right? You can no longer play the game, and that is exactly what we don't want. So yes, we want progress, we want to move forward, but you do not want that progress to hinder the live experience, right? And they are definitely aware of that. Like, we need these things, but we need them to not be super 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 painful. So take your time. For me, if it doesn't end up in 323, I don't care. It cannot end up in the game in a state that we've seen in either of the tests. Nobody should have to wait 5 minutes, and nobody should have to wait forever. So it should be less than the first test. Otherwise, we shouldn't be getting it. That's my opinion. But so I'm willing to be ultra patient for these things. Outside that, what else I think stuck out to you roadmap wise? A lot of stuff stuck out to me.
That and the Gravlev are like the stuff that's like the things that we already knew about that they talked about.
Yeah.
The big thing about this roadmap to me that is surprising as Mike scrolls through the 80,000 different features that are talked about is like last week, we heard from the SEL and from the ISC a little bit about what may be coming in 323. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. So when we get the roadmap next week, 3 or 4 of the features will be on there. No, they just said, no, we're not joking when we say we're targeting 323 with these features. We're targeting 323 with these features. Because usually, at least in the last maybe year or two, anything that's been put on the roadmap, the vast majority of them have made it into that patch cycle. Only a few things have been pushed because it's sort of just the way that they started communicating.
Yeah.
So sort of to continue what I was saying last week, they're getting confident. They're getting super, super confident.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they have every reason to be in this case, because this isn't a situation like we've experienced before where they just started working on these things. Like, I'm very curious about what 324, 325, or whatever, leads into 4.0, how many 320s we have, or 330s, if who knows. But I wonder what the next few patches are going to be like after this, because we don't really know how long they worked on Star Map, Mobiglass, FPS Map, personal instance hangers, these kind of things. We don't really know how long they were in development for. Maybe Shiny Hobo can help us with progress tracker and can tell us exactly how. But for me, I think that they've been working on these things for a while. So for you to be like, I don't expect these to come in, just seems... And not you, obviously, Croncy, but just anybody out there. Seems a little silly to feel that way, because we saw them much more polished than features you would normally see at CitizenCon and everything, right? So the expectation would be to see a lot of those things in 323. Still incredibly surprised how many features from CitizenCon are going into this. Kind of falling in line with what I said about them running 3 different environments. I think we're starting to see what it's like to have actual developers working on the PU and not like a skeleton crew. I think the sheer number of features here is what's telling us that, right? We've had a few highlight features and patches for the last couple of years, some of them very cool, but just a few here and there. A lot of these features are highlight features. Like anybody, you talk to anybody and they're probably highlighting something different as far as like an exciting feature. I had some surprises in here personally. Star Map rework, even though maybe it's just like I can't believe it's actually happening. Less of a surprise, and it's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it.
It's been so long.
Yeah. Mobiglass rework, also not really a surprise if you're getting the Star Map, but also we saw the Squadron 42 one. We have not seen the PU one yet. So to see that in there without ever seeing any part of it makes it a surprise to me. I want to talk to you about something. Personal and instance hangers. We have a lot more information on what this actually means. Personal hangers are going to be at your spawn location. So you have to go down to the planet to experience your personal hanger. Can't say I love this. Can't say I hate it. Fine. I'm very curious about, is every hanger instance now? So I think
every hanger will be instance, but not every hanger will be personal, right? So like,
of course,
you'll still have freight elevators at presumably every hanger. It's just like this. They're talking about persistent hangers, all of the language that they've talked about over the last X amount of time about what was going to come with freight elevators, they never used the term of persistent hangars for the same patch. This is what that is. This is
Yeah.
persistent. This is you go and you decorate your hangar, and presumably the next time you go there, it's still got those decorations or whatever you've got around there.
It kind of is
Yeah.
gonna make me want to, like, instead of just logging out anywhere, like log out at home for the night. Maybe.
Yeah.
I know it's like it's something stupid, but at the same time, it's not. I'm personally more curious about, like what you said, almost certainly, but just putting it out there. Like, if I go to Crusader L1, I assume that every hangar is going to be instanced now. And that's awesome, because I think this is one of those things that's like, all right, the game can scale so much more now with something like this. And that's one of the issues that the game currently experiences is scaling issues, right? Now they don't need to, like, I guess, try to fit us all in. There's so many hangars at some locations. They don't really need to do that anymore, right? Now they can provide smaller things and just instance us a lot more, and I think it would be more performant or whatever as well. To no surprise, freight elevators. I can talk.
That was expected to be essentially the major feature of the patch. It just turns out there's like 30, but I think we're all expecting that one.
I could talk for hours on item bank and unique recovery, unique item recovery.
This is like the subscriber gear return stuff, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this has been something people have wanted for a while, but it's essentially just a quality of life change.
Yes, but hopefully not a permanent one. I'm curious how you and everybody that's like thinking about calling and stuff. I would also say we're going to close the queue. Just situation with the cat. I don't want to go too long today. I hope you guys understand, and I do apologize. But the thing that doesn't surprise me, but I hope is not permanent, is we all know the way they do items. I feel like I've talked about it on the podcast plenty of times. It's really dumb. Like just the subscriber flare is a gun, and the only way to get that pink gun is to have that unique pink gun instead of apply the pink to a non-unique version of that weapon, which is what every other game does. So it's just very weird to do it that way. And then taking that and then applying unique item recovery, we're duping now. So now we're duping unique items, and that's okay in an alpha. I don't care. I absolutely do not care if that's what we do now. You want to look cool. You want to look like yourself. Like some of the arguments that I saw when I was talking about it was, well, it should cost a lot of alpha UEC. Okay, that doesn't change the fact that you're duping something.
Yeah.
So, like, we have to think, even a situation like today, again, I talked about this a million times, and I promise I'll stop after this because, again, I can go for hours. I get the challenge coin in Arena Commander. That is a unique item to this time on this year, and it should stay that way. That is such an MMO trope, is maybe the right word. That is an MMO thing, right? I have that thing forever. If you weren't here, you don't have it. So I have this unique thing to be like, I was here, right? And that's something very special in MMOs and very special in my heart with MMOs. So if I'm able to dupe that item and give it to you, and then you could dupe that item and give it to somebody else, and then over and over and over again, none of you were there. None of you, so that amount of items that are earned during that event should never go up. They should only disappear as people leave the game and don't play anymore, and become more and more and more valuable and more rare and more unique for the people who play throughout the course of time that the game plays. It's a very special thing in MMOs for me personally. So absolutely fine for an alpha. I want to get my armor back until they come up with the proper system. Thumbs up. Glad you're doing it now. Change it before we go live. And we have plenty of time to do that. I don't know what the solution is. I'm never going to tell you what the solution is, but this is not the way video games work. This can be the way alphas work, and I'm totally fine with it. So I'm not out here yelling at Cloud saying this is horrible. You need to change it now. Absolutely not. Just as long as it's a plan to change system, which most things are, right? So
the only thing that they'll say about with your example is that the second person who like receives like it's like so yeah, person A dupes the item. The second person theoretically wouldn't be able to dupe the item because it
true,
wouldn't be
true.
a
Yeah, that
countdown.
was a silly thing for me to say, but
So it wouldn't be
I could
as
dupe it
drastic,
over and over
but it
again.
would still be an issue. It would still be an issue.
Yeah, of course. Like the idea of this account bound item thing should maybe just apply to ships, and like having an account bound skin is fine.
Yeah.
Having an account bound item is ridiculous. When it applies to guns and stuff, I think like the little hanger flare, okay, and those things you can't lose. Like they're in such a weird spot because you paid money for them. You can't lose them. But things like the Vandal Mask, things like this challenge coin, if you go out in the world with them and drop them, you should lose them. I totally understand if you paid real money for something, we can't really do that, right? So some hanger flare stuff, no.
Yeah.
But in-game earned
they
things,
should have been
lose them.
skins all the time. They always should have been skins that you can just apply.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of other examples that aren't skins. The cocks from last year's Lunar New Year event. They're just like wooden.
Yeah, but
roosters.
what I'm saying is you don't pay for those ones. Like the issue of like
oh no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You just got them for being there, right?
True.
The ones that you do pay for, I do fully think that you should be able to get those back 100%. And the fix for that is making them skins and not here is your weapon and armor that you've purchased, right?
Yeah.
You have to go and get that Singularity X and apply a skin.
Absolutely. And I'm not arguing against you. There's just some things that aren't your skin example, they aren't skins. So for example, this month's posters aren't skins. So I can't like those are actual items that I have to get back, right? Those that's what I mean by like some of these things I'm just gonna have to get back because they're not skinnable things, right? It's not like you got the check mark and when you go to the paint shop I can choose this paint kind of thing. Unfortunately, but also fortunately because a lot of these little items are really cool. So they got their hands full on making this make sense and work, but they don't need to worry about it now, and I'm very happy. These are one of those moments where when somebody tells you it's an alpha, if it was such an alpha, they wouldn't do this, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those live service moments where they looked at the game and said, we really got to solve this problem and temporary solution.
Yeah, this is annoying people right now. It needs to be fixed.
Yep. And they did it. So every example of Star Citizen is not 100% an alpha. It is a percentage alpha and a percentage live service. We love live service moments here on twitch.tv/SaltEMike. I don't know about twitch.tv/Croncy, but I love them. So I'll speak for myself there, but I'm happy about them. Next thing is right at the bottom there. Probably the thing that surprised me the most because they didn't say shit about them for a really long time. Cargo hauling missions. We have all these like cargo related things happening. So it made sense, but I did not expect it. I am, out of everything, this will probably be what I jump into first in 323. I don't know about you. That's the first thing I'm going to. What do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. I think it makes a lot of sense to come into the patch. I don't think it required much of a stretch for them to it depends on how they program freight elevators, but I imagine it's not much of a stretch to turn essentially delivery missions into cargo hauling with the freight elevators, especially the way that like Elliot has talked about how missions are coded into that. Like, yeah, we can essentially change A and B to be whatever we want. It doesn't sound like it was a huge stretch, so it makes sense, but come on, where's my mining missions? That's my response.
Yeah, well, hopefully after these, then that's like the next thing on their list as far as missions go. That would be really nice. The thing that sticks out to me is reputation with this. So, CitizenCon 2023, there was a lot of talk about reputation and cargo hauling, and that's where they displayed mission-based rewards for the first time, when we've known this is something they've wanted to do for years and years and years. All sorts of different containers, and I don't expect any of that shit in 323, and I don't think we should get any of it in 323.
it'll be the basic reputation stuff we have right now.
Yep.
Where the more reputation have, the
More boxes.
riskier or more boxes. Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be
that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Now, CitizenCon 2023, 12 months or so, they need to deliver that to some extent to keep their word, which nobody expects them to keep. So I don't care whether they get it or not. I'm not expecting them to. It would just be really nice. So I look at this and go, are they going to tie a little reputation fun into it? Probably not, but I am going to be looking for it when 323 comes out. You know what I mean? Outside that, a lot of stuff we already know. FPS loot screen was a surprise to me because we have not, same as the Moby-Glass, is we have not seen it yet. So to expect it to be there was a slight surprise to me.
The version that they did show us last year at CitizenCon was in a Star Citizen build, but it was essentially the unmodified Squadron version.
Yes, and on the SCL where they talked about it, they did express it would be a bit of a challenge to take that and make it work for the PU because we have so many things. So many things. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at chat. They're saying, aren't distribution centers going into 323? They're right there, my friend. They're right here. We'll get to them.
I think they mean in response to the reputation stuff with cargo missions, which I do think distribution centers will come into it one way or the other, where like maybe it's just where you pick up or deliver some boxes. But I don't think that connection will be more deep than that in 323.
Yeah, 323, just expect things to be very simple and hope that after 323, instead of just moving on to 100% more simple stuff, that they will come back a little bit and make it a little less simplified and a little bit more fun. But yeah, that as far as things for me were the only things I want to talk about outside of like really excited to see Reputation overall. And what that'll be. If we want to talk about the drama around April, we can. I feel really kind of bad for Morphologists on this.
Yeah,
I think he just made a thumbnail that made people angry.
I think it was pretty reasonable for what he said. That like, there is, even if they didn't explicitly say anything about when patches arrive, there is an expectation of quarterly patches arriving in March and so on. So, you know, when they say we're targeting April, 318 arrived in March. And that worked great.
318 was the December patch, and it arrived in March.
But I think saying that it's a delay is not necessarily incorrect, but it's maybe misleading. With like you're not talking necessarily about all the information.
All right, we're gonna go through some history here. We're gonna give you guys a history lesson. 3.1, March 31st. That's fucking April, okay? If you were working that day, that's April. The next quarterly...
That was patch, April in Australia.
True. The next quarterly first quarter patch, April 17th, okay?
Yeah.
The next 3.9, April 29th. The next, April 22nd, 3.13. The next, April 29th. Then there was a March 10th, which is very weird. How does
317, April 29, 318, March 10th the next
319 May. Oh my God.
Because remember, it was all the minor patches. We had the 317, 1, 2, and 3 and stuff.
I totally forgot about that. So this one's weird. This was the December patch. Then we had a very weird May patch. This whole year was ridiculous and stupid and weird. So the expectation for this to be April 2024 is that's the expectation. So that's what people were giving Morph such a hard time about, is like, bro, it's come out in April every year. So it's literally never missed April. And that's the thing about it is it's not really delayed because the expectation should be April. Now they're saying this in February.
Yeah.
It's
what
did
I
say
delayed.
Last
week? June. It's going to be June.
Yeah.
I'm still calling it.
It's going to be delayed, guys. Now, are we going to probably be playing this at some point in March in the PTU? Some of us will. Some of us probably won't, right? So, we can be a little bit more open with Evo stuff. I finally got some confirmation about how they want us to handle that. There's already been 323 Evo tests. I'm not giving any details on what they are. They just exist. So there's already tests that are happening. They're going to be testing 3.23 for a very long time. It is a huge patch. I don't know if they want to do like little features at a time or what.
Yeah, I was going to say that assumes that all of those make it into the base 3.23 patch rather than a 3.23.1, 3.23.2.
They are not saying anything about .x, right? I
Yeah,
want to go
they're just saying
all
patch
the way
cycle.
back. Yep.
The word is just patch cycle.
I want to go all the way back to replication layer. We may not get replication layer in 3.23 flat.
Yeah.
So we don't know. And it is what it is. It's no big deal. I feel really bad for Morph because I don't think he's like completely wrong here, but the community just dogpiles on this guy no matter what he does. I don't know what it is. I think his thumbnail was the part that people get more mad about thumbnails than they do about the content of the videos typically. So I think that's really what it was. Just big words delayed when nothing's delayed yet. It will be, but it's not yet. Yeah. We all know
it's actually a preemptive
be.
video. He knows it's going to happen, so he's preparing.
Yeah, so it's just people just comment after the thumbnail. I'm pretty sure what it was, but dude, people went nuts on Reddit. People went nuts on Spectrum and stuff. I did see people upset about the April thing before, so I did. This isn't a conversation about Morph. This is more people were like, April, really? It's always been in April, so it's no surprise at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
and
pretty
it sort
much
of makes sense. That does make sense every year anyway, just because they're not doing much in January.
Yeah, and
like,
the thing is,
it still gives them that time period.
Exactly, and you are playing 3.23, or you are playing the Q1 patch in March. You are always playing it if you're playing in the PTU. So it never, in your mind, it never feels like the game released in April, because I don't know about you, but as a creator, once we get to live release, I typically could care less about the patch because it's usually not as featureful as something like this. So I'm not super excited to jump in that. I've done all my like, ooh, what's the new stuff? Let me check it all out in the PTU, right? So yeah, the level of excitement. So I don't remember when it releases to live. I remember when it releases to PTU. That's
exactly. We
be
remember when we get our hands on it.
Exactly. So that's really it for me on 3.23. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to chat about. We obviously have a monthly report
for the roadmap.
stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say So for roadmap, that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I'll mention is that it clearly, we talked about it last week as well, it clearly is the Squadron 42 patch. More than half of the features that are in that roadmap roundup are from Squadron.
We've seen,
and so makes sense. Even then, still a lot of things that are just PU. Just PU, but it's sort of why it's so bulky. And then we had the monthly report, which also had some interesting things in it too.
Sure. What stuck out to you? This had way less meat to it than the roadmap update. To me personally, it was just a lot of older stuff, but there are some interesting surprises here.
Yeah, a lot of continuing on of what they just mentioned in December, January.
Yeah.
Once again, makes sense because they wouldn't have done too much in January. So, in November and December. So just sort of continuing along there. More work on Blockade Runner, and that did get added to the roadmap, but we've still seen essentially nothing of it in any playtest.
Descriptions are weird about
really
it.
much. Yeah, so I have no idea what's going on there, and I really want to know because I'm not. It's a dynamic event I'm not excited for, but I want to get excited for.
I don't care. Yeah, they haven't excited me for it yet. I'm in the same way. They gotta excite me for it, and they haven't done a good job of it at this moment. Something that stuck out to me was like ship stuff. They're working on the Zeus and the Polaris at the same time, which I don't think we really usually have experience in the past. So again, this is just an example of them having more devs, I think, and just like kind of pointing that out that like, ooh, look, changes.
I would imagine it is, but it's also presumably because, well, once again, changes because they started doing the thing of like, we're going to focus on one manufacturer at a time. Yep. Obviously, that means it's a lot easier to work on multiple ships from the same manufacturer.
Exactly. Swapping assets between each other and stuff.
Yep.
So very, very cool. One thing I actually forgot to point out in Weekend Review coming up this on Monday is Gold Standard. Retaliator is getting, so they're back to gold standarding ships as well. Thank God. So we need that.
Modular when, though? Modular when?
I believe gold standard work on the Aegis Retaliator would mean modular.
When they last talked about it, there was that, but that was like 2 years ago or something, I think. So, yeah.
Fingers crossed. Why Maybe. Choose the Retaliator if They're not going to make it
Uh,
modular here.
because it's Aegis, and they did the Gladius, they did the Saber.
Okay,
It
fair.
just tracks to continue along that line.
Fair. Um, other things that stuck out to me is core gameplay. This is everything.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, they changed it.
everything.
Instead of being 4 different feature weapons, feature gameplay, feature blah blah blah, just condensed it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like it's to me like based on like last podcast, Richard Tyrer being here. I think this is the Rich is the guy covering all these people. I don't know,
Okay.
but my guess would be that he kind of makes it seem that way, and having everybody working together on what appears to be more common goals is amazing. I mean, if again, we have freight elevators, UI, missions, economy, I think was doing stuff around commodity
FPS
prices
weapons and stuff.
recently, right? So it's like everybody kind of working together on the same common goal is what I've begged for my entire time being here and covering and following this game. We also got to find out what the Arena Commander feature team was moving on to. I don't think they really say it very well here in the monthly report, but DJ has said it publicly in my Twitch chat. They're working on Maelstrom and they're working on Transit. They might be working on other things as well, but those 2 things for the PU are what we're aware of. Does it surprise you that somebody's working on Maelstrom now? It obviously doesn't mean it's coming in 323, but
no, of course not. I feel like think about all of the major features, the major PU features that got added to the roadmap and like talked about in SCL and stuff. Where is the next step? Like, what are the next few bunch of things? The only one that I can think of, like other than Maelstrom, is the engineering. So
yeah,
there's going to be some stuff here that is going to be added.
Sure. I guess just for me personally, Maelstrom would be one of those CitizenCon features that they showed, along with like the water updates and things like that.
What's happened to the water update? Because my understanding was that was supposed to be in
322, right?
Like 322, yeah.
Everything around VFX and graphics have not been included in any conversation. Something happened.
Like the ground fog, the light rays. Like, my understanding for all of that, and maybe I just have to rewatch CitizenCon again, was that all of that was looking at end of year last year. Yep. And, it's CRG, they're going to miss details, but then, like, it also hasn't been talked about for 323 either. So, like...
I hate when they do that, man.
I don't know what's going on.
I hate when they do that. Like, just, you cry open development all the time, and, like, in the moments where you really need to be open, where you said something was going to come and then didn't, and then you just get silent, is so stupid to me. It frustrates the hell out of me. I don't care. It's just one of those things where when it is a feature I do care about, I'd love to be updated on that thing. Like, I personally don't care about this feature, but yeah.
Like, imagine, like, we were talking about the clear race earlier. Imagine if the water update existed with that and how much more of an impact that would have.
Yeah. You just play in third person. You would never play in first person. Fuck it. Just play in third. Right?
That's why you're slow, Mike.
Oh, that's okay. I'll be slow, but I'm going to look good. I'm going to look good while I'm doing it. Biggest thing in the roadmap update is included in here. Arena Commander feature team is still including the engineering update. We are like we talked about it on this podcast a few times. I was really worried that, hey, the Arena Commander feature team is becoming a PU team. One of the most important features was this engineering update. It's still happening, and that is amazing because I couldn't see a world where we got this update outside of Arena Commander initially, right? It just made they were like made for each other. Is experimental modes in this, and it's so nice to see that the Arena Commander team will still be focusing on Arena Commander while simultaneously doing some PU features as well. It's not dead yet, and given how much I play it, I'm happy it's not.
I also feel like based on the wording here, we can probably expect that level of stuff to continue, of having like event specific things happen on Arena Commander to continue. Maps, like new maps and stuff, probably going to continue. It's just if you're looking for actual new features in Arena Commander, it's likely not going to be a thing for a very long time, unless Duncan is like, all right, I'm sitting down for 12 days straight and I'm writing some code. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm sure it's kind of frustrating for you guys. Private matches, things like that. Like, who knows what's.
Yeah.
All those things are up in the air now,
Because
right?
those are the features. Those are the ones that we really want. Is like spectator mode, private matches.
Loadout
Otherwise, like
changes
we love
within
match and stuff.
game, right? There's or the game, just when I press C, can I heal? When I press R, can I stop reloading if I see somebody? Those kind of things. So you just got to deal with it. I was literally just banging my head against my desk today with some of that stuff. We had an ISC on these two sentences, and that's why ISC was what it was, because you can only talk about it for 2 sentences, and they dragged it out for 10 minutes.
We're talking about the devs themselves for a lot of it.
Exactly.
I liked it. I personally really liked it because I like
So did I.
The art design. It's art narrative design, but it's called branding, but it's art narrative design. It's how does the design of logos or graffiti or whatever actually
make things
immerse
make
you
sense.
more into the game. Yeah.
Right?
So
and
I liked it.
I thought it was a good episode too. It's just not an episode that we would cover in the way that we just covered everything else so far today.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. If you like game development, go check it out. Pretty much same thing with Star Citizen Live. And I mean, they were talking about Ultima Online on Star Citizen Live, baby. So like I was feeling it. But at the same time, it's just not something that we're going to like dive deep into and be like, "Oh man, they said this, they said that." Like not really a big deal. I think probably the most notable thing they shared was that during 318 they were like pushing petabytes of data a day, and Amazon was like, what is happening? This is insane. And they were like, I said in my Discord, because we were watching it kind of live together, is this something to be proud of, or like our game's super unoptimized? That sounds really bad, but okay, cool. Yeah. I want to talk about this. You included this in the thumbnail.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It does look cool. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
It also looks so 318 and 319. Why are they all one SCU containers, guys?
True.
We have passed this. We are far surpassed this.
Oh, they're not. They're not. The ones on the... Oh, actually, no, that might be a perspective thing. The ones on the very left side, right at the edge, I think that's perspective. Never mind.
Yep, I think it's just perspective.
Yep.
I think they're all one SCUs. And that's fine. Yep. But no, it's not. Like...
Well, it's fine if we don't interact with them.
Well, we're gonna...
Then
this
it
is
sucks
the raid.
that we're not interacting with them, so yeah.
Yeah, this was the raid. So, show the location, but I do think by the time it gets into our hands, we need to update the game for... a feature that is largely, I would say, locked, right? Yeah. Is cargo container sizes. Elliot's telling me to complain more, and I will make them 2H boxes. What's 2H?
I assume he means two-handed, so the smaller ones that you have to
Oh my god, yeah. The 1/8 SCUs. Oh, that's funny, actually. Yeah, it's not really complaining. I think this will be really fun as a raid, and they might need to be this size to keep you there, right? Yeah. So it might just be a general design idea. I personally want to see it. I imagine this thing was made in they've been working on distribution centers for a really long time. So I imagine these have been worked on during the 1SCU days, right?
Yeah,
and not
probably, yeah.
And not the more recent improved cargo situation. So hopefully,
wasn't it? If I would have to go back through so many things because everything is CitizenCon related now. I'd have to go back and check CitizenCon. When they did show the raid on the distribution center, like it was
I can bring it up,
right? Like they did come down into this. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
So they at the very least had it for that. But I don't think, because they talked, I don't remember if it was the roadmap or SCL or whatever, but they talked about how, the underground is not going to be a thing that's going to come straight off the bat.
Yes.
It'll be later. I don't think this is underground. I think this is an above ground room that we might see.
It really depends on what they define as underground, right?
I would just imagine, are you transitioning between those two like massive elevators? If not, then it's probably not.
I agree. I'm trying to find it, but yeah, I guess it's not relevant anymore. It doesn't matter. We've moved on or are moving on anyway. But the I largely could see these being included because it may not be considered underground, even though there are no windows, right?
Yeah.
Like like they went deep down plenty of times, so
Yeah.
it was one of those. Outside that, I didn't see too many other things that I personally wanted to point out. For me, the roadmap update was really about that core gameplay feature section. And that they were all kind of coming together.
There is one sentence from the narrative team that gets me very excited.
Tell me.
Which is they came back from the holiday break to multiple large-scale initiatives that will add more story and character content into the game. Sweet. Yes. Cool. Please.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, like let us know what it means.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you're looking at it.
Like I do want to talk a little bit about ISC and SCL some more. Yeah, this week wasn't exactly last week, but Jared also pointed out in 2 weeks' time and that we have these specific ISCs on these specific things, which will be just as enjoyable to watch as EVA and stuff like that. So there's a good chance we're going to see what Narrative's talking about at some point this year before 323 releases. There's a good chance we're going to see how much of the distribution centers we're actually going to see, right? So,
which, speaking of, we'll be seeing next week. Distribution centers are lined up for ISC this coming week.
Hell yeah.
Confirmed from SEL 2 weeks ago and also SEL this past weekend. Like, essentially said again. So,
hell yeah.
All of those things we just said about distribution centers, maybe we'll get to find out, and then we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. I'm good with like all the stuff that happened this week. Do you want to get to some callers and see what they think?
Yeah, that's enough of us talking. I will just say, with the Is Star Citizen's development changing, at the very least, the how much they've been talking about it over the last couple of weeks, at the very least, has changed.
They're so confident. I don't like it though. I don't like seeing them confident. I want them to deliver something and then go, like it's one of those like dogs barking, and then when you open the door, they get, so it's like you got to do something first for me. But if you don't think I'm excited about the fact that there are this many things that they're working on, this many things that they care about, this many things that they're trying to do, I am excited about what they're doing, what they're working on. Whether or not they deliver them, who knows, right? It's CIG. Yeah. There's a good chance that something on that list that we talked about today doesn't make it into 323. They talked, replication layer was planned for 322, didn't make it. Who knows? Any of those things could not make it. It is what it is. I am just personally pleased that they are doing more and caring about doing more and seemingly doing it more like a traditional game development studio that is actually trying to deliver something enjoyable to people. Where before it felt like it was just trying to deliver something or stay afloat or just very minimal stuff. This is so unminimal, even though every feature might come in its like tier 0 state. There's so many things, right? So it just everything about now feels better. I don't want to be like the Debbie Downer and be like, well, you got to deliver something before I give you any praise. I'm absolutely praising on from CitizenCon to now. It's been a great experience to follow the game.
And what we're playing now in playtests, even I would argue, is like getting me more confident. There's just a lot of enjoyable features that have been getting added ever since probably August, as well as getting to see things like the replication layer in our hands in some element. Awesome.
Yeah. I think if we didn't have the economy problems, I'm really curious about like how long 322 now would have been enjoyable. Because obviously the amount of money people had did sort of ruin it for people and stop playing. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how long 323 holds us. Whether or not it'll come with a wipe is also a very curious question that a lot of people have. And we'll see. But I'm curious how long it will hold us over. 323 looks like it's going to hold us longer than most patches have in the past, and that's a great thing. So even if they deliver not everything, should hold us quite a while. Bunch of things to check out. All right, with that said, let's jump into callers. We got a few people on the line here. Lightsmith, have you ever called in before? I feel like first
I have
time.
never called in before. It's my first time.
Welcome.
Awesome, welcome in.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
We talked about a lot of things. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, actually, I thought it was you guys were just covering a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about how much is in 323, right? There's
Yeah.
an insane amount. You said yourself, if something might fall off, okay, that might be fine. 2 things on that list could probably fall off, and I think we're all still gonna be happy.
We're like
there's
half
so
of the
much
things,
there.
half the things could fall off. And I'd
Yeah,
still be excited.
so much could fall off at this point. So, and are we confident that they're going to deliver? Croncy, you said at the start that they seem to be pushing pretty hard these days, and they seem a little more confident in what they're doing. And I can't help but think back to that episode of Live. Jared's gonna be Jared. I love Jared. He's very hype all the time about his stuff. But he mentioned at the start of that episode that one, they're not telling us everything. They're gonna keep something secret. And okay,
Yeah,
maybe
they
that's
mentioned
the
they mentioned there'd be some stuff in 323 that
yeah.
they're keeping to their chest. Yeah.
Yeah, and that first little mention, I kind of thought, hey, maybe that's the space cow. Maybe we're just gonna get in and we'll see some space cows. But he also, under his breath, at like midpoint, maybe a little later in the episode, went under his breath and he said, they're not gonna let me tell you about this. I'll tell you later. And typically, again, I would think Jared being Jared, but with 323 being so big and all these features come in, even in the past couple of weeks, the devs have confirmed like a couple of things aren't coming. You guys said it, replication layer, meshing. I think they confirmed the new quantum travel system won't be coming. So what could Jared be hinting at under his breath that's coming? What feature? I don't think he would get that hyped over a ship. What is Jared hinting at that's still coming?
I do fully believe he would get that hyped over space cows. Like, actually,
that's true. He might get that hyped
They
over
are
space
floating
cows.
in the
I
background.
mean, is that something to be very hyped about? Yeah, they were. I think he gave it a name.
It almost feels like it's something not shown at CitizenCon, maybe.
I was actually going through the list. I can't see anything on the list. I think they confirmed engineering isn't coming because, I mean, they're kind of sort of barely getting to the mini maps for all the ships, so I wouldn't imagine that whole feature is coming. They said the interaction.
And they confirmed engineering will
coming?
be in Arena Commander first. So you will see engineering sooner than later, but you won't see it in the PU fully ready to go. But you will be able to test it, and I cannot wait for that.
I mean, he could be getting hyped about that. Maybe we're going to get engineering and master modes together in an Arena Commander, some testing environment. That'd be fun.
It was definitely something during the video content that they did not bring up once. So could be. Maybe server meshing stuff.
Most years, if they said they had a secret, I would expect a ship or something small. I think the little repair and
it still could be.
It still could be just because I just saw someone mention a comment that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Like the Idris and the Javelin, right, are essentially done. It could be an event related to the Idris or Javelin. It could be
they're both in Xenothreat. So
exactly. So
that's true.
It could be something.
We should say they're making changes, so who knows if they still are? But they were part of Xenothreat, right? Somebody in Twitch, I got to point this out. Terrapin variants. Question mark. Get some help, dude. Get some help. Okay? You need help.
Oh, man.
Well, that was actually kind of going to lead to my next question. The most important thing we all need to sit back and really ask ourselves is what straight-to-flyable ship will come with 323?
Actually, I was thinking about this checking out the monthly report. There's so many unannounced ships that have been in the pipeline semi-recently, and a couple in this monthly report are talked about. One of them, they don't name it, but they say previously announced ship, which is really interesting. So I actually have no idea. The important thing to remember, though, is that this patch usually comes out either just before or around the time of Invictus. So I would imagine it's going to be some sort of we'll get something military or we'll get something alien maybe if it's a little bit later.
Yeah, because it's Invictus and then Alien Week is the next week after usually, or 2 weeks after. When is Invictus usually?
Late April.
Late May.
Late April. Okay.
I think late May, right? Isn't it
Memorial? It might be late May. You might be right.
Okay, so that'll be like 323.1 is it's always Invictus is usually a .1 if I remember, or .2. So
it has been recently,
yeah, recently in recent times. Yeah, interesting. You got my brain juices flowing. I don't know what it could be. I don't know what any of that stuff could be. It's
and we're at a weird point. Is Jared hyped over a ship, or is he hyped over a feature? It's really hard to read him these days.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But I'm excited to find out, I guess.
Yep.
I hope they tell us somewhat soon. Because if it's a really big, exciting feature, how can you fit any more into this patch? I have no idea. Also, the stability of this patch, it has no shot. It has no chance of being stable with all these features. It's going to be such a mess.
Well, we have quite a while. And here's maybe a little side note that comes up is how many of these features and how soon do you think these features are going to make it into Arena Commander for us, or maybe an EPTU for us to test out before some of these features go? Like, we might get the star map in EPTU first, right?
Probably. I would imagine stuff like that. Yeah, maybe. But they may just go like, here's a 323 PTU that just has two basic features.
If by EPTU you mean like some experimental thing, that's like, again, this is so confusing.
Or tech preview, I guess.
That's what the tech preview's for.
Yeah.
Like what I think they will do though, and they've done this in recent times, and it really bothers me, is that they use Evocati and the early PTU waves as like they're cramming features into them. So you will have a PTU with not all of the features, or not ready to be given feedback on features. And I think that's incredibly frustrating to deal with as a backer. And at the same time, what can happen, and has happened in the past, super annoying as well, is when a feature comes in, it causes instability, and that instability wasn't there until you put it in, and then we had a patch that felt like it was ready for live, and then you screwed it up. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with 323 is we're going to start out with like maybe just the Moby Glass, like you said, and then move through, and then there'll be a freight elevator update to it, and we're all going to go in there and check that out. And for concurrency on the PTU, that's going to be really healthy for them, I think. But for stability, I think we are not going to have a very stable live patch, and we're going to need a .1 to enjoy the live experience the way we might be used to. Totally understandable, though, with the amount of features that are coming in. So expect that, I would say.
Yeah.
But I hate that. I hate that's the way they use the PTU, though. I think the PTU should be entirely for feedback on that entire thing, and everything should be ready for feedback when it hits PTU. Not Evo, but when it hits PTU, everything should be ready for feedback, and it hasn't been that way recently, and that really, really bothers me.
Yeah, I will just say, like, so new features will often cause, like, current day, new features will often cause a lot of either client crashes or 30Ks, right? It's usually some variation of those. With if they are able to get the replication layer with crash recovery ready for 323, then the 30K crashing experience should hopefully be better. So, like,
very true.
Yes, we'll probably have more crashes than often, but if we're is my mic low?
Yeah, I was asking them. All of a sudden, your mic just got low out of nowhere, and I checked. It was like I didn't lower it. Oh, everyone's saying no. Did I accidentally hit my? I hit my headphones. I lowered my headphones. There we go.
Classic. But I think that all that stuff's not as much of an issue. Regardless, the amount of time that we're going to need to test all of these in all of their capacities is going to be massive.
Yes, I'm so excited for 323.
We have a lot of testing time to get it in, and now you got my juices flowing, because now I'm thinking I forget the name of the dev Jared was speaking with during that live episode, but he mentioned that a lot of these features are, I dare not put these words in his mouth, but I think what they've spoken about with some of these features is they're complete over on the squadron side, and they're kind of bringing them over, and it's the networking and things like that. So now
talking about multiplayer,
my brain's wondering, are we going to be running into those same Star Citizen bugs and things that we always have been, or is it going to be some new form, some new transcended iteration where they're not giving us a new feature, they're giving us a ported feature? And how well and how stable can it be?
It's gonna be different bugs.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like these are the single player feature bugs that we get to experience.
Yeah, there's just gonna be bugs.
They'll look
it's
shinier.
just gonna be buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, Lightsmith,
Well,
we're
let's
kind of coming to
more.
the end. Oh, you were saying that's all for you. Okay, so that's good. I felt like I'm not overstepping then, so that's good. I appreciate it. First time caller, it was a great call. So even the chat was commenting. First caller, great caller. So cool. Thank you, appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed your time, and we hope to hear from you again soon because it was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have
Anytime,
a good
man.
So cool.
Later, man. All right, so that was Lightsmith, and then we'll bring in a Vanquish. Vanquish.
How you doing, Vanquish?
Hey guys, good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
I'm happy to be here. I think the first caller was great, kind of teed everything up in the conversation that you all started, and really you covered everything pretty much in depth. And for all the SIG devs that are listening, I definitely say that I'm excited too about 3.23, and pretty much everything that's going to be in there is everything I wanted to be into the first patch. I just never thought after CitizenCon it actually would be. So I'm actually case. There are a couple of things that are missing that I hope they iterate on, but that's not a big deal. I'm still laughing at Elliot's comments about the 1/8 SCU. So
he loves to pick on me. I love to pick on him, but he can dish it and take it. That's why we love Elliot.
Yeah, and it kind of really speaks to a lot of the changes that I've seen, because obviously today's call is really about is development changing. I think it already has, and the first time I called in months ago, that was my belief back then, because I had seen some things on the development side that were like indicators. And all the more so, the one that I'm glad, Mike, you were the one that brought this up big time. The change that they made on the monthly report with core gameplay team. A lot of people look at that as like a subtle nuance thing. To me, as like a project manager, huge.
That's
and
why
a lot
the
of people
title
don't realize
is the title.
Yeah, and what I would tell for the average person listening that goes like, what the hell, why is that a benefit? How does that affect me? What I would tell them is I'd say, listen, the reason a development team like that would make a change that dramatic is primarily to have more consistency and cohesion among their teams. But the benefit to you is really dev personnel resources are kind of brought together, and hopefully the pooling of those resources will help expedite some of these patches. So I think that's a huge benefit to all of us, and that's why I think that was a big one to highlight. And Mike, you did that for everybody, so thank you.
You're welcome. I think like if you want to give an example for the game that we have now, one of the best examples of what it was before and how it could be different in the future is specifically Elliot, I think, and team added cargo containers to the bounty missions, right? But that team doesn't own the what are they called? They're not bounties, the beacons, combat beacons or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the service beacons.
Yeah, service beacons. They don't own those. So guess what's not in those and makes no sense at all for the video game that you're playing. Why do these have cargo but the other ones don't, right? Theoretically, that shouldn't happen again. So if somebody is prioritizing adding cargo to ships that were fighting in the verse, they will be added everywhere, right? And just little tiny example, like that is such a minute, tiny thing, but it's also very noticeable too, right? Of like, well, I can't use these to go do that, but I prefer to do service, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's just something minor, but hopefully just little things like that will be cleaned up. And then the more little things you clean up, the more Star Citizen starts to feel less like an alpha, more like a live service, more like a video game, right? And less like a front for a spaceship, store or fleet gatherings and things like that. So that's my hope. That was my most exciting thing for the week, is seeing that personally, and hopefully it becomes true.
Yeah, for me to see that and then add that together with really patch 3.23 to me is like a gold standard patch. You're taking everything that they've gold standard over on the single player side, porting it over, of course. And that's why when we saw in October, I felt more confident than ever they'd be able to deliver in 12 months. And it wasn't because suddenly they had another 1,000 or 2,000 employees. It was because they had been working on this for 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years.
Yeah.
So, depending on which feature we're talking about.
Yep.
So, we're not even just getting a tier 0 iteration on a lot of these. I would say some of them are going to be T1. So I think that's for quality of life, which ironically enough, Mike, you've been one of the guys that's been screaming quality of life needs for like a couple of years when the
Just 10.
SQ42 team. Well, yeah, it just we need these quality of life updates, and we need player HUD, player interaction. It's the stuff that brings the game to life. And for me, once you get server meshing together, you get this new huge gold standard patch in. The next thing they really need to focus on after that is what makes an MMO an MMO, which is progression. I think that's the next
I just
priority,
don't,
at least in my opinion.
like, I've really struggled with, like, this is going to get personal on their side, so I hope they don't take it the wrong way. This is not intended to, like, make them feel bad, or I just don't know any other way to say it. I'm abrasive. It is what it is. I don't know how they wake up in the morning and look at themselves in the mirror and say the things that they say every day about the game being the game, or selling you on the game and what it will be or whatever, but not care about the or work towards that goal like in the last few years, right? It's been really, really frustrating to listen to them speak, but then see the results after have not delivered on that. They come out with CitizenCon. They're walking the walk now. I was always saying, okay, you could talk all you want, but you got to walk the walk. They're, as of right now, they still seem to be standing up and walking. And, I don't even see legs wobbling to the point where they could fall down in this situation. I think they're walking the walk.
Their tone hasn't changed, like, at all since CitizenCon.
Yeah. Outside of the silence on those VFX features or whatever, they've been totally different than how they've been in the past. I'm hoping they keep walking the walk. We'll see. This feels different, but we will really know how different it is
when we see some patch notes.
PTUs for 323, right? So we'll see.
I agree. And I guess my last point, and it was just more of an idea because I'm someone who has been foolish enough to subscribe and get a lot of gear and a lot of other things. And, I thought about it because, I'm somewhere in the middle. I agree 100% with, Mike, and a lot of people think like Mike, as far as I want to have something of value in the game that I can earn. Whether it's PvP or PvE, doesn't matter. Something that is unique, I was there, right? And that does make for the experience, and I think that's worthwhile. At the same time, when it comes to like paid for gear, I'd like to be able to pay in game, right? Kind of like insurance, pay in game some kind of cost to be able to get it back. But one thing that I think that they shouldn't do is have really rare, unique gear, something we can buy in the first place. Like at the end of the day, as the game launches, whenever that is, that all that rare, cool gear is something that they do keep holistically just in the game itself and not something that we can purchase. But some idea that I got, and it was the other day I was in the game and I realized, oh my God, paint liveries are a physical item in the game. Like, why is it a physical item? Why isn't it just, why can't I just go somewhere, even to a shop, and that shop uniquely has certain liveries that I can add to it if I bought it or if it's in the game? Why does it have to be a physical item? And so I feel like the old iterations of things have complicated systems that I think will need to be streamlined in the future.
It's straight up because the priority was to sell you that item and not make it a gameplay experience yet. They continue to prioritize the sales over the gameplay until now, essentially. Yeah. So that's really all I have to say on that. Is it's always a prioritization issue with them. And it's totally understandable that, like, who would want them to completely revamp their paint system in February 2024, knowing all the other issues in the game? I certainly don't want them to, which is why I'm, like, totally fine with the current stuff. But you better start thinking about, because this should be the way you're funding the game in the future, is a big part, this kind of stuff. So get it right, man. And hopefully they do. It ain't right now, I'll tell you that much.
In terms of keeping like the rare items in game and making sure that they're not like, a purchasable thing, I think the hopium for a lot of us is that it's going to come from two things that have been talked about recently. One of which being crafting, which they've already sort of said, there will be like modifications to like certain items that didn't go anywhere deeper than that, so that even that take a massive grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
But that would be one aspect. The other being like reputation and having unique item unlocks through reputation. As long as they can keep those sort of things in game, the whole like, well, it becomes not pay to win at that stage, right? Which is obviously the goal is to get away from that. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know anything else, Vanquish. You said that was kind of your last thing, but want to give you a
Yeah,
shot.
that's my last. That was my last main item. I would just say, for my wish for Xenothreat, whether the devs are actually doing it or not, is that we can commandeer an Idris and use it in battle. I think that'd be the coolest thing. But I'm just throwing that out there. That's all I got, and I appreciate you guys having me on again.
All right. Well, thanks
No
for
worries.
coming on,
Thanks
man.
for coming on.
Appreciate it. All right. That was Vanquish. And then our last caller of the day, Michael the Arc 42. Can you hear us, Mike?
How you doing, Michael?
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Fantastic.
Are
What would you
you
like to talk about today?
Are you listening to us on stream and responding to us on stream, or can you hear us live?
No. I just turned it off and switched over.
Okay. Yeah. I could tell. So
I'm
yeah,
just
I was
switching
making
over,
sure.
getting everything set.
Yeah, all good.
Understood. We bring you in quickly, so it's hard to tell when we're actually bringing you in. So totally understandable. What do you want to talk about today?
Just hitting some of the highlight features, I guess. A lot's been covered. You know, 323 is really exciting. It kind of following up something I said on the call-in show after CitizenCon is that we're sort of getting a whole new game in 323. And that's really exciting.
I
Yeah,
think,
I mean,
I think
obviously
what we're getting is so many features to dive into and be like, oh, how does this work? That you're gonna have a while to do it. Because the one thing that I really want to stress is I don't think any of these features are coming together and being cohesive. So I will try to calm that statement of we're getting a whole new game, because I still don't think we're getting a game out of 323. We're just getting so many things to be like, ooh, how does this work? Interesting. Okay, cool. And then eventually see those things get tied in with some of the features that are being worked on, which is reputation and economy stuff. Those two guys are the ones that are going to tie everything together. We're going to get lots of new experiences is how I look at it, but I'll let you continue. And sorry, but I just
and
that one
I
always
think the experience
freaks me out.
Yeah, go. I think the experience is a huge part of it. Like the way we experience the game is hugely changing, right? Like we're moving finally past the tech demo and all of the weird flash code that they've been talking about getting rid of for half a decade. And I think that's huge.
Is this the end of it? Is this the official death of all the flash in the game?
Like, are we fully on building blocks with Mobiglass?
We might,
because like half the apps are already.
No, I think the MFDs are still on Flash. I think.
Yeah. Once we get the MFDs, and which I don't think have been listed at all for 323, once we get that, I think it's gone. And maybe interaction system, and that's coming in 323 as well.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, MFDs would be the last one. Good point.
Yeah, so that I think is big. They finally cleaned out a lot of that tech debt that we've been talking about for so many years too.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge impact. And hopefully this continues, right? Obviously, I don't think we're going to see these kinds of patches going forward. I don't think we're going to see the kind of like sheer volume of 323 in future patches. But I am at least a little bit hopeful that we won't have like 317 ghost patches.
Yeah.
You know, where they're highlighting just tiny things. I don't remember what patch, if this was in the 317 cycle or before that, but like hopefully we don't see like, a big roadmap announcement for the coffee vendor, right? Like I get that was an important thing for the junior dev to do when he came in, right? That they made too much of a big deal on the other roadmap because they needed to fill out stuff because they didn't have much to
I
do
don't
there.
think they made a very big deal about it. I think it was just there was nothing else on there, and we made a big deal that it was even included. I think the community
not that they made a big deal of it, but like
physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're like you could tell that they're really trying to like pull the little things that they were doing into the roadmap to like make it bigger and hopefully we don't have to do that anymore. I imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that are like coffee vendor sized in this patch that just aren't on the roadmap. And that's kind of my point.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll get chucked in one of the patch watches. Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I am super hyped for master modes. I'm one of the mediocre pilots that absolutely despises the current flight model.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's
so
going to be
bad,
a
I don't
partial
like either.
implementation. I've been enjoying it because it makes the ships feel intuitive. And I saw your react on Virgil's content, and the drift without intent is really a good way of describing it, right? For mediocre pilots like me, you really end up kind of sliding all over the place, and it can be really difficult. And group fights are just really hard. When I'm with a group fighting, we're like, someone's calling out that they're in trouble, and everyone's trying to get at them, but they're
a mile away from them.
Exactly, and you can't get in there, and then you have a lot of people that are just doing like full speed decoupled ellipses where they're just like strafing in and out, and it's such a pain in the ass. So I am excited for some of the changes in the flight model. I think they do need to make it a little bit more dynamic. It shifts a little bit too powerful to the group, so they need to give smaller groups a little bit more staying power right now. But I'm sure we have time to tune that. I think it's going to be a partial implementation. I don't think all 200 or whatever ships are going to be unique. But I am fine.
I don't think
with
they'll be
that.
unique, but they'll surely all be in with master modes, because it'd be super weird to not have some ships, like have some ships not have master modes and have some ships have master modes in the PU.
I think that's one of the things that could fall off, because they even in the SEL, they were like, we're working really hard to get all those and it's like, okay, so I know what has the chance to fall off. It's got to be this, right? Because that's got to be a challenge, right? So if it falls off,
I actually think they'll just shift everything to archetypes. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, they've done it in the past, right? So why not in the short term in the future?
Yeah, so I think maybe heavy fighters won't be different from each other. They'll all have the same stats, and that's why I'm hopeful that we'll get it in. But I definitely think it's important to get it in because they need the data from the general populace. They need the terrible pilots and the mediocre pilots to get in there, because right now in AC, you're really only collecting information from the top pilots, right?
Yeah.
And that's important.
Nobody's
that's really important. Exactly. But it doesn't show you how the space monkeys are using it.
Yep. I want to know what it's like to fly a prospector in master modes in atmosphere. Like that's a whole another thing, is like, this is so combat focused, and yes, that is very, very important, the most important, but it's not everything. So yeah, it's tough. So
yeah.
This is somebody in chat said, who you calling nobody? We found the one guy who's sitting in master modes right now waiting for a match the entire podcast. Exactly. That's the experience right now. Even the duo was hard to find a match, because and it was like brand new and you get a reward for it. So yeah, I don't know. I think we need master modes for a lot of reasons. It sounds, I just think the current flight model, like you said, is what has pushed people away from flight combat. If you go into FPS Kill Collector and it's jam-packed, because it's one click of a button. Everybody knows how to click their left mouse and use WASD. Yeah. The experience in flight is so much more complicated. It's really pushed people away from that experience. And that's the experience that makes Star Citizen special and unique, is the ship stuff, not the FPS stuff, right? It's so far from unique in that perspective. We need to get this right. So yeah, really important. But again, I think it could be one of the ones that does fall off. What else do you want to talk about, Mike?
Star map, as Voidy might say, thank Christ Roberts. I know, Mike, you're not as hyped about it as a lot of us are, but good God, was that a pain point like that? And that's the real reason I think everyone is excited for it. It was such a miserable experience.
I'm not hyped about it. It's just there's so many other cool things that I am more hyped about. That's all.
Yeah. It's also, you don't with all those features, you don't dive into the star map or anything.
No.
It's there. You're just going to use it. But
you're going to use it to enjoy all those other features you're excited about. And hopefully it isn't as much of a pain point as it was before. It is so important, like of the utmost importance for the patch, but I still would love to talk about other things. Look at how long you talked about the star map in comparison to master modes, right? It was a significantly shorter amount of time.
I feel like the star map needs a bit of a nerf. You know, I think it's probably a bit too positive towards ballistics.
Well, here's the thing, Croncy. We're in an alpha. Star Citizen is an alpha. I didn't know if you know, and there shouldn't be any balancing done at all in an alpha. Okay, so please, no negativity here. You're ruining the funding. Because I've heard that in my comments and on Reddit about me as well.
Only happy thoughts.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think that stuff's obviously very important, but I'm so excited for other things. Like cargo missions and stuff are just infinitely more exciting to me.
Yeah, that I am looking forward to some of that and some of the changes with how cargo elevators shift things. The distribution centers are really interesting. Those came in a lot faster than I thought they would. But
excuse me?
I think
you remember when they started these?
Yeah, and I thought they were going to string that along forever.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years is a long time. More than 2 years now.
12 years is also a long time, Mike.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. It came in faster than I thought it would based on the last update we had on them.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They are much further along than them showing you a few images, right?
Mm.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that as a lot of the artists shift over. Obviously art is something that parallels really well.
Locations specifically, right?
Yeah. You don't get stuck behind blockers.
You have to assume all the locations are done in Squadron 42 for the most part. Like if they're polishing anything and not adding to them, it would be the location. So maybe we're going to get those location type teams, the Montreal one and whatever location teams are in the EU, probably got significantly larger in comparison to a lot of the other teams, would be my guess. So maybe we do see a lot more development on that front.
I think we will, but I would imagine they'd be one of the last teams to finish polishing, right? Because a lot of the like polishing, not bug fixing, because a lot of the polishing will end up being like, oh, this mission actually sucks because the cover's not good. All right, cool, we need to fix that. Or
okay, fair.
Right? Like they'll have to work on it quite a bit. I would imagine. I know literally shit all about game development, but that's where my head's at.
Yeah, for sure. I have a sponsor coming up that is a development like tool, like how you learn how to be a developer. And I make a joke of like, all those developers in the comments. Now you can shut up and do something.
Nice.
So, yeah, it should be fun. But I don't know. I just think I'm excited. I'm just generally excited for this year, and I can't wait to dive into some of this stuff, and hopefully it's got some depth to it. That's what I really hope for. Is I don't expect things to be finished. I expect them to be very much in a hey, give us feedback phase, but I really hope they're deeper than, for example, structural salvage, right? A lot of this stuff, if it falls down the structural salvage side, 323 can be like a kind of big failure. But I don't think it will be. I think we're going to have some depth to these things, and I'm excited for it. You got any surprises that you think will show up, or can you guess that surprise?
Lemonade stand.
Nice.
True. Lemonade stand.
Yeah, no, but like coffee vendor. Lemonade vendor.
Right on the Microtech lake, though. You got to trek it.
Wait, why would you want lemonade at Microtech? It should be on like Hurston.
Because then it's like a slushy.
Okay.
Yeah, you go outside, get some snow, you got a snow cone.
Exactly.
True. Dude, I haven't had snow cones in forever. Nice. They were so good. That just brought me back to childhood for a moment. Snow cones.
Finish this podcast, get some snow cones.
Oh my God. Somebody in chat. Who wants some lemonade instead of noodles? Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but
yeah.
You got anything else, Michael, or should we let you go?
Last thought. I know you were talking about the item bank earlier, and I think the
show just extended by 30 minutes.
Yeah, nope, it's gonna be short. I think the solution to a lot of this is I'm okay with a little bit of duplication as long as the original item that gets claimed doesn't persist. So whenever it gets streamed out, it goes away, and then we're good. That's how you deal with distribution or duplication, I think. And that's it.
Yep. And just to add on that, if items eventually have durability, you will never be able to repair that item unless you own it. So eventually that durability could run out, and when it's run out, it's gone. Something like that, right?
That's also good because it also still gives you a reason to maybe like pirate another player for the item, but it's like you don't get to keep it forever. You just get it for a little bit.
But I don't keep it forever would be fine, right? And if you are caught with it, it's a stolen item, or there's things they can do. It's just this cannot be the end. This is not the solution to the problem. This is a reaction to the problems they created that they are not willing to prioritize fixing right now, which is understandable and fair. Please don't fix it now.
I would also just add, it also sounds like there's clearly something more to this feature. Like the retrieving and storing FPS items at multiple locations. What does that entail? Is it just going to be a new
future insurance system?
Display? Are we looking? What are we doing? Yeah. So there's probably more to it that we just don't know about yet.
Could be. Yeah, could be the start of something big or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Prepare yourself. Everyone get your sunglasses on in game because the gold armors are going to be everywhere.
Oh yeah, people are actually going to wear them now. The thing is, they're light armor, man. Well, no, there's one heavy gold, right? But you buy it in game or medium. It's a buy in game thing.
I don't know. I think people would still wear it. The fact that it is gold
everyone's gonna wear it
cool
instead
over
of
the
a
fact that
suit.
it's light.
Yeah, true. Oh man, this is gonna be like store mounts and WoW. Do we have? I gotta have like animations of like just giving people the every time they wear gold armor.
Yeah.
To like pick on them because they're being too flashy, and that's one of those things. But I am looking forward to seeing variety in the verse, and that'll be good too, right? Seeing people look the way they want to. That's the one thing I've always stood steadfast on this system is I do want you to be able to I always wanted you to be able to lose stuff, kind of, or have the fear of losing them. But when it comes down to the result of that would be everybody wearing the cheapest armor possible and that kind of stuff. I never wanted that. So yeah, somewhere in the middle, and it sounds like we might be getting something to that. But Mike, I think that's probably it for you, and we'll let you go. But really good call again. It's not easy to be the third caller in a show like this, so appreciate it. You added some insight.
I love being the third caller. I don't wake up early enough to be the first caller, so I'm happy to come in at the end.
Fair enough, man. Thanks, Mike.
Easy.
Take care.
Catch you soon. All right. So that was our callers, and I think that is probably our show, Croncy, unless there's anything else that you're itching to chat about.
Not really. Just expect to see me on the Gravlev leaderboards. I like, this is getting me so hyped about racing again, and I'm really happy that they did it. They will, but because it's in PTU, it's not.
Okay, yeah, but they have leader. I haven't even looked at racing leaderboards in forever. I thought I would care about that, but I realized I had no chance, so I stopped. I stopped caring. But I'm
genuinely really excited. I'm happy that Star Citizen is in a state again with firstly the communication about the development. We're back to the post January blues, as well as I want to play again. It's these small things just making me want to play again. I'm really happy.
I want to play 323 again. Is that what you mean?
All right. No, it's like the Gravlev stuff just by that in its own right. And while the Xenothreat stuff isn't working, a build with that working is making me want to play again.
Okay.
So
I could definitely
even the stuff
see myself jumping into PTU. Yes. I want to try new stuff again. But at the same time, I'm playing Kill Collector, at 11:30 p.m. last night. That was to get footage. Partly.
That's what they all say.
Partly was to get footage. I mean, it was the footage I showed on stream today, but it wasn't entirely to get footage. It was because I've wanted to play it, right? So yeah. So I am playing the game, but I guess I was talking about the PU. I'm
still not super keen on the PU, but I've got something to get my hands on at the moment, and that excites me.
Yeah, but I think that does it for the show today. You got anything exciting going on that you want to?
Yeah.
share people
It's
with?
my 4-year stream anniversary this week.
Let's
On
go.
like Thursday, I think. I have no idea what I'm doing for it, but I'll be doing something.
Mine's in March, so I think partnerversary, some shit like that. I think it's around March or April. I don't know what to do, but congratulations. 4 years is a long time. And yeah, keep on growing, man. Keep on keeping on, because it's I hope you enjoyed it as much as you did on the first day or more.
Oh, I enjoy it way more.
Yeah.
My first stream, I was playing Final Fantasy X and doing challenge runs for myself. Never again. Never again.
I was playing my first streams were Ultima Online.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so you streamed in 1998. Cool. That's dope. Yeah, sick.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was one of the first, you know? on a dial-up connection, I was streaming. It was sick. You could it was 3 pixels, and people just had to guess if I killed the guy or not.
80p.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have anything going on outside of what I talked about earlier, right? I got a lot of real life stuff going on, so I'm happy I had some video to show you guys and things like that, but I've been scrambling to do anything streaming and YouTube related at the moment, and I hope you guys understand and appreciate it, and I'm sure you will. Most people have pets and know what it's like if they've ever lost one, or know what it's like to thinking about that moment of when you have to make the decisions that we're going to have to make now. It's not very fun. It's very stressful. I've had a headache for 3 days, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it sucks. But yeah, here we are. And I'm super excited for 323. And Star Citizen isn't going anywhere, but, you know, the things in real life could. So I'm going to spend some time in real life. So I don't have any exciting things happening, but you will see me in Kill Collector and then Gun Rush after that, if Kill Collector ever goes away. So
you'll see him at the top of the leaderboard.
Yes. A lot of random people are like, is that you? It's 11 p.m. Why are you here? And I'm like,
of course it's him. That's why you lost.
Yeah. Well, no, I lost usually. But if you know that it's late for me, then it's late for you too, by the way. So what are you doing here? But I guess, guys, that's where we'll leave it. So thank you so much for watching the podcast. And I have it. Do you have it?
I always have it.
Don't forget
to answer the call.
Love you guys. Appreciate it.